This is the third time I've been a part of mass layoffs in the last 4 years. Basically, this morning, my manager's boss sent me an email saying he wanted to catch up for a little bit. I had a gut feeling that this was going to happen since I have been through it twice before. And lo and behold, I get on the call, and not only does my manager's boss join, but also someone from HR. I will say that this was the most empathetic layoff that I've been through. They were really sweet, gave me this.
Man, look, dog. Empathetic layoff. What is an empathetic layoff, dog? Like, look, there is no amount of empathy that you can show me during a layoff that's just gonna make me okay. And man, shout out to her, dog. Like, shout out to this lady. If y'all can find her on TikTok, go support her. You know what I'm saying? Tell her y'all came from my channel, and I sent y'all over there to support her. I don't know her TikTok because it's just one of those compilation pages. But dog, look. So y'all get this question. This is the question that y'all get posed. What does an empathetic layoff look like? Do you think do you think empathy is important in a layoff? Like, you're still getting laid off, dog. I don't care how you try to phrase it to me. And I could just be being like pessimistic. But I don't care how you try to phrase the fact that I'm getting laid off to me. I'm still getting laid off. I'm still losing my job. Like, what are we talking about here? Now, I have a confession to y'all, a bit of a confession, something that I want to tell y'all. Before I started this channel, man, I only started this channel 2 weeks ago. Before I started this channel, what led me to this point was that I just have a genuine love for business and the economy. And I wanted to create an outlet for me to come get my thoughts off and for y'all to come get y'all thoughts off. Not necessarily, me sitting up preaching or throwing facts that y'all are talking to y'all, but for a genuine open dialogue for people to come get their thoughts off and for people to get educated together as a collective. That being said, I have already started one business. When I was in college, I was a photographer, went on to generate, over $100,000, basically put myself through college with it. And then after college, my mind started to expand to a little bit more possibilities. I do still do photography today, but I'm moving more so into the online education space with this channel. That being said, although I study the economy to some extent, I've always been interested in what's going on with the money. Before I started this channel, I really didn't have as much insight into individual people's stories. Like this lady, I just made another video, I think last Thursday, something like that, Thursday or Friday, about another lady that was going through like tech layoffs. She had 2 master's degrees and a bachelor's degree and was working in, I think, tech sales for some company, not even truly like in tech, not, IT. She wasn't, a coder or anything like that. Like, she was in tech sales, but, I guess technically you should say she was in sale, or she was in tech. And the lady had went through a layoff and she was making a rant video on TikTok. Now I'm taking a look at this lady. I've seen a couple of more videos because, like I said, there's like a compilation page on YouTube, and there's a lot of these. But man, I say all that to say, y'all, I'm starting to feel bad for these people. Because I'm in a situation where I'm not necessarily affected by layoffs because I have a government job and I'm considered to be classified an essential worker. So I'm in Houston. When the weather gets real bad out here, when natural disasters and stuff start happening, I'm still required to come to work, but I do have a lot of job security. So I don't necessarily feel the effects of a lot of things like the tech industry. I can't necessarily directly relate, but I could imagine the feeling of being in this lady's position. You've already went through 2 layoffs and you get that email and you probably already know what's coming. It's insane. It's really genuinely, it's crazy, and kudos to her. Round of applause to her for being as optimistic about this as she is, talking about it was empathetic and they were nice and they treated her this and that. Man, I can't say I would do the same. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't say I would have the same attitude, especially for me in my personal circumstance, how instrumental my job is for me building my next business, which is this channel with you guys. I can't say that I would necessarily be as upbeat and happy and optimistic and seemingly looking towards the future as she is. I would honestly, like, I would probably feel kind of defeated. Like, it would be bad, but this does also lend to the other conversations that we have on the channel all the time, which is you do have to take some personal accountability to the fullest extent that you can, in that knowing that layoffs are running rampant in a lot of industries. This is why intentionality with our money is so important. This is why we can't be out here going to the club if we know good and well we don't already have our 3 to 6 months of expenses put up chilling in the bank just in case something happens. And at this point, I'm not even necessarily looking towards like 3 to 6 months of expenses. In my opinion, I'm starting to recommend to people in my personal life an actual number. And the number that I'm starting to recommend is at least $10,000, right? Because your mental does start to change a little bit once you hit that 10K number. If that's not 3 to 6 months of your expenses, though, you need to be shooting for 3 to 6 months. But generally, like, I think everybody's starting point should be 10 bands. Some people say 10 bands is easy. Some people say 10 bands is unachievable and unrealistic. I say do whatever you got to do to get to 10 bands. Really, you should be shooting for 20 to 25. I think 25 is a good number where you can really feel safe in the majority of states and cities in the United States of America. But I'm gonna let the video play a little bit longer and see what else this lady has to add to the conversation.
Space to feel everything I was feeling. For anyone that's going through something similar, that's not the situation often. A lot of times it's just kind of a business transaction, and that really sucks because you've grown to know these people, you've become friends with a lot of them. Leaving the company is one thing, but the connections that you've made, getting used to talking to the same people every day, of course you grow attached to them.
And here's the thing, we have conversations like a couple of videos ago. I think at this point it's the most viewed video on the channel, which I was talking about Gen Z and loyalty to employers, right? We talk about in that video, right? My sentiment was generally that, like, you shouldn't have this undying loyalty to your employer because they don't have that same loyalty to you, and if it comes down to it, if budget cuts need to be made, they need to be made. It is what it is. If you're on the chopping block, adios. But in the comments of that video, I got to express a little bit more of, a balanced approach to it that I didn't get to express in the video because, I was mainly talking from one point of view, which is that you do have to take into account, man, that people are still people. Like, some people do genuinely like their job. Like, we sit up having these conversations about, forget the 9 to 5, the 9 to 5 is this, the 9 to 5 is that. We demonize the 9 to 5. The 9 to 5 ain't gonna do nothing for you. But we fail to take into account that, like, the human aspect of it. Some people do like their jobs. Some people do actually develop good relationships with the people on their job. Like, every job is not just the worst thing in the world. And it seems like this lady was in a position where, even though she had already been through 2 layoffs and she had every right to feel the way that I expressed that we should feel in that, Gen Z having no loyalty to the employer video. This lady has every right to feel everything, but she's still going into the workplace feeling optimistic, coming probably with a smile. I'm not sure if, she was going into the office or, showing or working remotely, whatever it is. She described that she had a positive relationship with the coworkers. This lady has every reason to be going on a social media rampage and being in a complete outrage, but she's not there. She hasn't allowed herself to go to a dark place, and I mean, some people may interpret that as weakness. I actually interpret it as a strength, and I wish this lady the best, but I can't admit that she's better than me because, like I said, I don't like what is an empathetic layoff, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, I'm gonna let her rock out a little bit longer. Let's see if there's anything else that we can really extract out of this video.
Say though, it is so important to remember this is not your fault if you are going through a layoff. It is simply a numbers game. Maybe they hired too many people for a project that they thought was really going to grow, but no longer is going in the
and she's giving the employers the benefit. That's what I mean, man. Look, I want y'all to clap it up. Like, from wherever you watching this from, clap it up for this lady, because she is a good person. She has a genuinely good heart. Because me, if I was in her position, I'm holding everybody accountable. I'm the person that's going to start asking the questions. Why did y'all hire too many people? Why are we in this position? Who can I take this up to hold somebody accountable? Because this is not my fault. Now, obviously, like, I'm being a little bit dramatic about this because there's nothing you can really do if, you know, if you're getting approached by your managers in HR for a layoff. Honestly, she's probably doing the best thing you can do, which is staying positive and encouraging others. But, like, the question is, y'all, what is the solution? Like, I've already told you guys my sentiment multiple times on the channel, which is that the only thing we can do is create a financial cushion for ourselves to where if it happens, you won't be devastated and you'll have more than enough money to last you until you can find your next opportunity. But, like, I wish there was a real solid solution that we could offer to people like this lady, because just seeing her through this screen, I want to help her, man. But I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Let me know. Give me y'all thoughts in the comments below.
That they expected and need to cut back on budgets there for whatever reason. It has nothing to do with who you are, what kind of worker you are. A layoff is very different from getting fired. Please keep that in mind and be kind to yourself. Again, this being my third time going through it, I think I was able to compose myself a lot quicker than I have in the past. I'm definitely not ready to just jump into looking for jobs or anything like that, but I do want to take some time to become like a better version of myself. I'm super excited.
So if she's gonna, be taking time to do soul searching, hopefully her finances are together and she is not going to be devastated. It's sad to say this, but, I kind of interpret what she just said about, like, her not necessarily being devastated by it, because it is like my third time going through it. I kind of interpret that as her almost getting numb to it. And that's another question that I want to ask you guys. Are we to the point to where a lot of us are just numb to this issue, which is a huge issue that we shouldn't be getting numb to? We shouldn't be normalizing layoffs, but is that just the point that we're at, in the United States of America? So let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments below. You guys know I do my best to respond to every single comment that is dropped on the channel, because I genuinely want to have a conversation with you guys about these topics.